My name's Jennifer, and I have currently been with Thrive for about, I want to say, I don't know, 6 or 7 months roughly. I went through the internship. I started in August with the internship, and now I'm working at the Trumbull County Jail. What led me to recovery, honestly, was my life was in complete shambles. I had recovery in the past, but then I had went back out, and this time around coming back into recovery was very tough for me. It was something that I thought I couldn't do for the longest time. I was doing what they call the hokey pokey in the rooms, and I was going in and out for multiple years, and that was because I was so afraid to open up to people. I was so afraid to actually take the time out to stop judging myself. I think a lot of it comes down to judging yourself. When I was coming in and out of these rooms and I was judging myself, I was thinking what other people would think of me and what they perceived of me, instead of looking at it in a different lens and saying, you know what, I'm here just like they're here. I need to get this just as bad as they needed to get this. This is something that's going to better my life. This is something that's going to be something that's I'm going to be able to build something from. My life has always been about helping other people, and that's something that I've always had a passion for, is helping other people. With helping other people, I just had to sit down and realize, okay, I always want to help other people. Why can't I help myself? Why can't I sit on my own hands and sit down and actually just take the time out to be quiet for a little bit and learn something? Because I thought I had all the answers, but I didn't have all the answers. I had to go through treatment again. And when I went through treatment again, and I actually was able to sit down and listen to what the counselors were saying and not have a response right away, that's when I started letting go of my past life. When I was letting go of that past life, that's when I started growing and becoming something completely different. I always still had that passion of helping other people, though. But at the same time, I had to sit down with myself and understand who I truly was on the inside. Because if I didn't understand that, I wasn't able to move forward. So just taking that time for myself was probably the biggest thing that I needed coming back into recovery, and then allowing other people to love me so that I could learn to love myself. Well, honestly, so I had a peer supporter for multiple years, and it was through Thrive. And she stuck by my side throughout everything, all the falls that I had, everything that went on in my life. Like, she was always reaching out to me. Even when I wasn't active on her case, she would reach out to me just to check in and see if I was okay. And having that person do that was something that was just like, wow, man, somebody really truly cares about me. And having that person that truly cares about you was just like something that made me want to continue working towards something different. And then one day, she looked at me and she said, well, she was like, I'm graduating you. And I was like, no, you're not. No, you can't graduate me. I'm not ready for this. She was like, Jen, you have accomplished every goal that you've set for yourself in this time frame. She was like, and you're doing so good. She was like, and I want you to be able to flourish in this. She was like, and I know you're going to flourish in this. And then she called me, I want to say probably about a month after she had, released me from her caseload. And she said, hey, Thrive starting this internship. I think you'd be a good fit for it. Why don't you apply? So I applied for the internship. And I didn't have a lot of time when I applied for the internship. And I can remember talking to Ashley Carson, and she was like, oh my gosh, she was like, I want you to be in this internship so bad. She was like, but the amount of time that you have right now isn't the amount of time that's required for this internship. She's like, I don't want you to be discouraged. I don't want you to feel like you can't get into the next one. She was like, because you're going to get into the next one. She was like, that is one thing that I could tell you. You're going to be the first on the list for the next one. She was like, so take this time to continue to work on what you need to work on so that you can get to where you want to be. She was like, and look at it as something that is a new goal that you're working towards. And I did. I took that time, and then 3 months later, when the next internship was about to start, I called and she said, I was just about to call you. So being able to sit down and not look at that as a hindrance and look at that as something to build grounds on was probably one of the accomplishments that I would say really changed my life. Because I used to take things and I used to say, oh my gosh, I doubt myself and I'm not good enough and here I am again, why me, why me? And just sit there and continuously beat myself up. But this time I took it as something okay, well, there's something else out there. There's a purpose that I need to fulfill right now. And I don't know what that purpose is, but God's going to place that purpose in my path. So I ended up taking on a sponsee, and she grew with me through the program. And when I finally got into this internship, I just took it and I went forward with it, and learned so much from Jason. Randy too. I mean, you got Randy in there, he's amazing, I love him. But Jace, he had a way of talking, and he had a way of like connecting with me. I really looked up to him during that internship, and I feel like I gained a lot of knowledge from him. After the internship, the crazy part was during the internship, I didn't look for a different job. And the reason I didn't look for a different job was because I knew where I was going to end up. Like, I kept feeling it in my soul that I was going to end up with Thrive. And then I had my interview for the jail, and it was with Justin and Rachel. And some time went on, and transitioning into that jail, it was a big transition because I wasn't used to going into a lockdown facility. I wasn't used to working and having to use a walkie-talkie to get from floor to floor to floor. I wasn't used to all of that kind of stuff. And like having inmates come in, and when they come in, handcuffed, I always make sure to introduce myself to them. I always make sure to ask them a few questions on, what is it that you feel your issue is, because if I'm building that rapport with somebody and I'm able to sit down and relate with them, then I'm actually doing something that's going to help them, because I have different ways of moving through different scenarios. I have different ways of talking to people. I prefer to relate to people more so than tell them what to do, because I feel like having that connection with relating with somebody and having that comfort and that understanding is where this program thrives, hence the name Thrive. So yeah, I like building a rapport with somebody before I do anything else, honestly, just understanding them. Some of my favorite moments are when I get to actually transition them outside of the jail. I'll be honest with you. I love being able to take them from the jail and watch them light up when they come out them doors and they actually get to see outside for the first time. The Trumbull County Jail doesn't have any windows that they can look out of. So they are stuck inside a building with no sunlight. They very rarely get to see outside. The only time they get to see outside is when I have a certain room that I go to that has windows, and I do it for that reason. I go to that room just because I know they don't get to see anything outside, whether it's snow, whether it's rain, whether it's the sunshine. It doesn't matter what it is. Like just being able to see outside for once, if they're locked up for 6 months and they don't get to see it, and they finally get to come into a room where there's windows, and it's like, oh my gosh, I get to see outside, and it just makes their day so much brighter. Transitioning them outside and getting them in the car and taking them to their next destination, whether it's treatment, whether it's, going into partial hospitalization, PHP, whether it's going into a sober house. I get to walk with them, and I think that right there says a lot and speaks volumes, having somebody when they're so scared because they're coming out of this whole entire different place of living, and they're moving into a communal living to where they have to follow rules still. They have to abide by certain things. They have to live cohesively with other women or men, and just helping them understand it on the way there. That way that they have a better understanding of it. But most of the time when I get somebody placed somewhere, it's somewhere that I know the person that's running the house or something like that, you know what I mean? So that I can build that rapport with them and give them a warm handoff and introduce them to some of the girls that live there or some of the men that live there. I think that being there with them in that moment when they are very fragile helps them, and they have a better, understanding of what to expect when it comes down to it. And they have a better understanding of who the people are that they're walking into their house, versus just saying, okay, have a great day. I like to be a little bit more personable with the person. I'd rather be there with them and guide them through that process. The way that my recovery journey has gone, I give them their own way of recovery, right? So I'm not going to sit here and tell you my way is the only way. I'm open to all different ways of recovery. I don't care if it's Celebrate Recovery. I don't care if it's Smart Recovery. I don't care if it's AA, NACA, HA, whatever A you want to pick. As long as you find something, even if it's just church, find something that works for you, and if it's working out or, I don't care if it's nature, going hiking. Find something that works for you, and I'm going to support you in any shape, way, or form that I possibly can to help you get to that point where you feel like you can live life without any type of substance. But working in the jail, I feel like there's some people that don't understand what peer support truly is. And when they're bringing people to us, it can be very hesitant, or why are you going to see them? What are they going to do for you? So I think that the knowledge isn't out there of what we actually do for people. I feel like, they just think that we're there just to become friends with them, and that's not the case at all. Like, I'm there to help them figure out their plan of life. Like, I'm there to help them figure out what their next step is. I'm there to help them and guide them in a way that's going to be beneficial for them. I think there is a stigma when it comes down to it, when, you go places and people are like, oh, here comes another person that, is just trying to get off drugs. They're worthless. No, they're not worthless, because here's the thing. People that actually use substances are some of the most articulate, creative people that I've ever met. They are the smartest people that I've ever met, honestly, because we have a way of thinking outside of a box, right? No matter what. So I try to take what they have and implement that into a better source. So, say for instance, like, you have an all or nothing addict, right? That is just completely all or nothing for their addiction. Why can't we turn that all or nothing into something that's going to be all or nothing in recovery, that's going to benefit their life, that's going to change their life, that's going to make it more positive for them? It's learning how to approach that person. It's learning how to articulate in a way that they're going to grasp it and they're going to understand it. It's learning how they adapt to certain behaviors. It's all about a learning process with them, because, like, say for instance, if I come at somebody and I'm like, well, you're going to do this, this, and this, instantly they're shut down. Instantly they're shut down. I'm not here to tell you what you're going to do. I'm here to walk with you, to guide you in a process that's going to work for you. I'm here to make suggestions and say, hey, I see that you like to do this. Why don't we try this way? And give them different ways of thinking. I try to challenge people a lot. I'm really big on learning new behaviors. I'm really big on opening up the opposite side of your brain. Because if we're out there and we're ripping and running for 13, 20 years, right? Our mind is used to working a certain way. So if we don't learn different behaviors to open up a different aspect in our brain, like the opposite side of our brain, we're not letting the right side heal. So we have to figure out ways to activate the opposite side of their brain so it allows the other side to heal a little bit. And I like doing things like that just to help them understand, like, hey, my brain needs to be healed, and here I am, and all I can think about is the drug. All I can think about is, oh my gosh, when am I going to get out of here so I can go chase that again? But in all actuality, it's not about chasing that, because you're looking for a feeling. You're looking to fill a void. You're looking to fulfill something inside of you that is completely broken. So let's work on something that's going to fulfill that without the drug. Let's work on something that's going to fulfill that without the alcohol. Let's work on something that's going to fulfill that without the codependency. Let's work on something that's going to fulfill that without needing somebody in your life that's going to make you feel good, right? So I can make myself feel good. I just have to figure out what it is that I like. And 9 times out of 10, people don't understand what they like. They don't even know what their favorite color is, and learning those things and just like applying different behaviors and, just working with that person, honestly, introducing them new things, taking them out and going to the beach and enjoying a day at the beach without any type of substance. Who knew that could change somebody's perspective on something? Going out and bowling. Who knew that could change somebody's perspective on something? It's finding those things that you can relate to, that you can build off of, and that you can build that rapport with that person. Currently, like I said, I'm working at the Trumbull County Jail. I have actually applied to get out into the community. The reason being for the community is because I need something that's just a little bit more flexible for me. I do have a home life, and right now it's kind of like colliding, and I'm not able to do the things that I have to do, my responsibilities. So, like, it's kind of impacting like the hours where I'm working, but at the same sense, like, I also feel like the community would be just a better fit right now for me, for the simple fact that, honestly, like, I can make my own schedule. I can do things differently. I can be able to be that person that's walking with somebody on the outside. I can meet them where they're at, and I can, I don't know. I think that the community is going to be something that's going to be more beneficial for me, honestly, just for the simple fact that, like, I have a way of talking to people, and they just tend to like gravitate towards me for some reason. I don't know what the reason is, and I don't question what the reason is. I just want to be that person that sheds a little bit of light on somebody. I want to be that person that maybe clicks that switch and you see that glimmer of hope go off in their eyes. I want to be that person that is a walking testimony for other people so that they don't feel ashamed of who they are. And I think that's one of the biggest aspects, because when we come in, we think we're very ashamed of ourselves and what we've done. And it's okay to have those things that we've done. It's learning to grow from them. It's learning to adapt from them. It's learning to unlearn behaviors that we've had so long and learn new behaviors, and having somebody just walk with you through that process is one of the most beneficial things. If it wasn't for my peer support walking through me with that process, I wouldn't have learned a lot of things. I would have just continued doing things the way that I was doing things. Having that sponsor that's like, hey, it's time to reel it in, and just listening to what she says. I think that's one of the biggest things, is just being able to be receptive and have an open mind and take those suggestions from people, honestly. And, once you start taking those suggestions and learning from those things, you start changing your behaviors, you start looking at life differently, and you don't have the need for the drug or the alcohol anymore. That's a good question. Honestly, if I could leave one message for the recovery community, it would be that you're worth it. You deserve better. And this life is going to change drastically for you if you just start believing in a little bit of yourself.